It's good, you guys. K Tizzle TV. So today I figured I would do my top 10 favorite wrestlers. If you have a top 10, or if you have a favorite wrestler, just put it in the comment section. But I figured I'd do something a little different, and I figured talk about wrestlers that I watched growing up, and also like my favorites along the way. So I grew up in the '90s, which is the Attitude Era for WWE, and so basically I was there when they had the WCW split, and also when WCW was taking off, and they were really competing with WWE at the time. So basically, like, I remember on Monday nights at my grandma's house, we would flip from channel to channel pretty much. We go from, WWE, then when it was a commercial, we went to WCW. When it was the WCW, we went to WWE. Like, it was just such, like, a crazy time back then. And, like, I just love being at my grandma's house on, like, Mondays and everything, and we just be watching wrestling together. But anyway, so at number 10, we have Goldberg. Now, Goldberg was a terrible wrestler, by the way. Terrible wrestler. Like, I mean, growing up, it was just like his entrance. Like, I loved his entrance. Who didn't love his entrance, by the way? But like he was one of my favorites. Now, getting older, I was like, yeah, this nigga really can't wrestle. Like, he couldn't wrestle at all. And like, I would watch some of the documentaries, and even like some of the major wrestlers were like, yeah, like, the guy came in as a football player. He really wasn't, built on the traditional way of wrestling. Like, he wasn't a fan of wrestling, like, but he was a football player. And I still remember the match with him and William Regal. And, they basically was like, hey, we're going to make it a 15-minute match. And Regal was like, hey, if you don't get a 15-minute match, I'm going to give you 15 minutes. And so it really exposed, like, Bill can't really wrestle. He doesn't really know the fundamentals of wrestling. And basically every match, it was the same thing. He'd come out, spear, jackhammer, spear, jackhammer. Maybe a slam here and there or whatever. But other than that, it was just pretty basic. But me, um, like I said, I just like this entrance and, his charisma. He really didn't say much. He'd come out, wreck you, leave. I was just like, all right, man, that's a bad motherfucker. All right, at number 9, I got Booker T. Man, WCW, he was my favorite, no question. Like, I love Booker T. Him and his brother, the Harlem Heat, man, like, love those characters, bro. And Booker T just felt so real. He felt so authentic. Well, he still is, but like, growing up, I was just like, yo, I would love to be Booker T. Like, bro, I would love to meet him. Like, bro, like, I just loved his in ring gear. Not to mention his theme music, fire. He even kept it after he left WCW, and that was him and his brother's like interest music. And I was just like, yo. And then I watched the WWE Legends biography with him, and that man really went through a lot as a kid. He grew up in Texas, and he was doing a lot of stuff. He landed in jail for robbery. Like, he did a lot. Booker T really went through a lot growing up, and seeing where he is now, like transitioning from where he was in Texas to where he is now, making a name for himself and doing things with his brand and everything. It was just good to see, him coming from nothing to making a name for himself, him and his brother. And like, growing up, I didn't know that like Stevie Ray was actually his brother until I watched the documentary. I was like, that's really his brother. Like, I didn't even know that. Like, I'm just thinking, like, they just put two black dudes together and was like, all right, here you all go, But they were actually brothers, and like his older brother Stevie Ray, who was his tag team partner, he was the reason why Booker T came on his wrestling. Like, yeah, they did wrestling moves on each other, as kids, but I mean, who didn't, but literally, like, Stevie Ray became a wrestler, and once Booker T got out of jail, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna follow you, and we're gonna wrestle together, and that's what they did, and it led them to WCW being a great tag team, becoming tag team champions, and Booker T became WCW champion, 5-time WCW champion, which is his moniker and everything. And really though, when he won the WCW title, I was like, wow. I was like, man, this might be the first black champion I didn't see, you know, in WCW anyway at the time. But it was good that they put the title on him because it was definitely deserving. All right, at number 8, we got New Jack. Now, if you're an ECW fan, you know who New Jack is, man. New Jack was crazy, but I like that. He was crazy. Now, man, if you want to talk about hardcore legend, you know, obviously Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, Mankind would be in that conversation. But New Jack, he was really, really like a pioneer for I'm going all out. You know what I'm saying? Like he would go to like 30 feet and just jump. You know, he would come out in a shopping cart full of weapons to use in the match. Like it was just beautiful. And like the thing with his matches, every single match he's in, his music will play on loop for like 20 to 15 to 20 minutes. It was fucking insane. I was like, yo, will this music like ever stop? But no. So Paul Heyman was like, you know what? Instead of, you know, just, you know, playing his theme music just when he came out, play it the entire match. So they looped it for the entire match until the match was over, and that was it. But every time he came out, the crowd would be going crazy, throwing up the X's for New Jack and just chanting New Jack, and the man would just, man, I loved every one of his matches in ECW. I've probably seen just about every match in ECW. Also watched his Dark Side of the Ring episode. If you don't know what Dark Side of the Ring is, Dark Side of the Ring basically is like they're basically telling the story of like wrestlers or certain moments in wrestling, or wrestlers we didn't know, or wrestlers back in the 80s or the 70s or whatever. Tells their story and everything, you know, about their rise and then their downfall or whatever and everything like that. They're actually coming out with a season, I believe, in March. I might do a review on one of those episodes. If you guys want it, just leave a like, comment. Just let me know if you want me to do that. I'll most likely do it anyway, but just in case, like, you know, to keep it like a series or something like that. But yeah, New Jack, he really had a messed up childhood. I ain't gonna lie, he had a messed up childhood. He remembers his dad, um, yeah, shooting her in the leg because she was getting ready to leave, and also his dad stabbing his mom 5 times. Just walked in the house, stabbed in front of everybody. You know, like New Jack really went through some stuff. I'm talking about like, you know, his upbringing and everything, but like he said basically like his family was really messed up. He said his family was really messed up. He said dad just walked in, he didn't give a fuck. He just came in just, you know, in front of everybody, you know, and I'm just like, wow. Like imagine growing up in that, you know, environment. Like I'd be ready to get the hell out of there. I ain't gonna lie. Hopefully I don't get, you know, this is in GTA. But yeah, New Jack was really really a great wrestler. He just came out and did whatever he wanted to do, and you know, he just made sure he put on a show for the fans. You know, even even his match with Bam Bam Bigelow, man, that might be one of the best matches I've seen out of him. That might be one of my favorites. I'll go back and watch it from time to time because it was crazy. But yeah, New Jack could be number 8 on my list. The next on the list, of course, got to put Rey Mysterio in there. Rey Mysterio, my eyes was glued to the TV when Rey Mysterio came on. In WCW, loved him. In WWE, loved him. Man. Like there was not a time where Rey Mysterio was on and I was not watching. Rey Mysterio is undoubtedly one of the greatest luchadors of all time. Like no question. Like even the ECW, I watched him ECW. I watched him WCW when he went up there. When he came to WWE, I was ecstatic. Like I was super happy to see him on WCW, on WWE as well. So one of my favorite matches of his, man, I think it had to be. Oh man, it's so many. Like like it's so many. But one where I was like, it was a back and forth, him versus Kurt Angle. Man, when I tell you, Ray put on a show. Him and Kurt was. I was like, bro, we need more of these. We need more of these because Ray was pulling out moves I never seen, even in WCW. But him versus Kurt Angle, that might have been one of the best matches I've seen on his. That might be a favorite of mine. I ain't gonna lie. It was crazy is I actually did a report on him in Spanish class because they wanted us to do a report on a Mexican uh, celebrity that we knew, and I was like, you know what? I seen all the people they gave us on paper or whatever, and I was just like, I don't really know about all this. And I was like, hey, can I do one on Rey Mysterio? And she was like, who's that? I was like, well, he's a wrestler. He's a Mexican wrestler. He's a luchador. She was like, oh yeah. I was like, bet. I I had everybody in that motherfucker going crazy because I was naming all kind of stuff. I even had a picture when he took his mask off, obviously, because like as a luchador, you have to keep your mask on at all times. Like when the camera's on, you have to put it on. When you go out, you keep it on. But in the house, obviously, you take it off or whatever. But like outside, it's always on. So I actually remember when they made him take his mask off in WCW, which I thought was like one of the craziest things you could do. And I was like, damn, did they really pay this nigga that much money to take his mask off? And as a luchador, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take your mask off. Mask is always worn. So when they paid him to take it off, I was just like, man. And he actually talks about this in a documentary. Of course, he was saying that that he thought that he would never be able to wear it again. Like he said that without it, he felt like a part of him was missing because like he couldn't do the same things he did with the mask on. Um, and like that was kind of crazy to see as well too. Even his upbringing, like he started wrestling at 14. Like that's crazy. Like at a young age, his uncle is the reason why he even got into it because his uncle was a famous luchador wrestler in his city. So like his uncle was very famous. So of course him being like, oh, I gotta follow my uncle. Like I want to wrestle. He would say sometimes he would skip school to go and practice wrestling. He would wrestle on weekends and everything like that. So like Rey Mysterio was really impactful for me because I was just like, yo, if this little motherfucker can do all it is, like there's nothing I can't do. Because like he was like the littlest guy in the biggest era. And he was like it's like a big name for like nobody around the world doesn't know Rey Mysterio. Like it's man, it is just crazy. And then like his son is wrestling now too, becoming one of the biggest heels in WWE, and it's just great to see, and the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame, and then once he actually retires, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be real hard. But the fact that he's still wrestling now at the age of like I think it's like 50, 55, I believe, it's gonna be crazy, man. All right. Next on the list, we got Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Obviously, you got to put him in the list. I loved his character. Like his character was great. I remember as a kid, I believe I was 5 or 6. 5 or 6. My mom, she had a VHS tape of all of Shawn Michaels' uh, wrestling matches. It was a WWE tape though, but they had all his tapes leading up to WrestleMania. So it's like they would show the Royal Rumble, then they'd show a match on Monday Night Raw and everything like that. Me and my brother, we watched that tape probably about 20 times. We watched that video a lot. Not gonna lie. That was my introduction to wrestling was Shawn Michaels, and I'm thinking like what matches like is he gonna lose a match or anything like that. But I remember we watched that tape a lot growing up. Like man, it was just great to see Shawn Michaels, like the music. Come on, man. Like the music alone, one of the greatest intros of all time. Honestly. And like Shawn's charisma in the ring, man, untouchable. promos, on top like you give him a mic, DX, not to mention DX. I mean you can't say HBK without DX. Like come on man, like who didn't love DX growing up? Honestly, one of my favorite matches of his had to be him versus Shelton Benjamin. That was a great match. Another match, him and Triple H. When Triple H went heel and pulled out the sledgehammer, they had a great match too. Um, Shawn Michaels really, it was just like, bro, like, man, I want to be Shawn Michaels. Because, like, my grandma, she loved Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was her favorite wrestler. Like, she loved some Shawn Michaels. Whenever he came on the TV, she was glued, screaming, all kind of stuff. So, yeah, like, Shawn Michaels really, really was a man. You talk about WrestleMania, you talk about Shawn Michaels. Best showman, best in-ring ability. He's a high flyer, but he's also technical as well. Um, he was really a party boy back. When he first came into wrestling, that man party like he was doing drug. Like, bro, man, just go watch a biography about him. That man really was doing a lot, and it's good to see that he turned his life around. From when he was coming up in wrestling and everything, and then going through being born again and stopping with the drugs and everything. But the man was really, really a great in-ring wrestler. Outside the ring, I'm pretty sure he was an asshole, but being young, stuff happens, but it's okay. Next on the list, we got Triple H at number 5. Triple H was honestly, I didn't have a favorite wrestler growing up, but when Triple H fought, man, I liked him. Even as a heel, I liked him. It was sometimes I want him to lose, but I'm like, damn, like, bro, like, even playing, like, WWE, like, on the game, I would always pick Triple H, because, like, I know I would beat anybody with Triple H. Like, there's no question. Triple H is really, like, he's one of the pioneers, honestly. Like, around that era where, WCW was trying to take off, he still was there. And he started in WCW. That's the crazy part. Like, he started in WCW. Him and William Regal were tag team partners back then. And, bro, the man perfected his craft so much. Like, you never seen a person want to get better and better. And even on his worst matches, he would stay afterwards and work on everything. Like if there's like a bad spot in the match, or like someone can't figure out what to do in the match, they go to Triple H. Triple H, oh yeah, why don't you just do this? And everybody's just like, oh, like damn, like how did he know that? Like Triple H really perfected his craft, like wrestling wise. He wanted to be a bodybuilder. He watched wrestling as a kid, but he really wanted to be a bodybuilder. But when he see it was going nowhere, he was like, you know what, I can wrestle on the weekends, make a little money on the side, and just get ready for the next match. Like, I can train and everything like that to be like at the next bodybuilding competition. But yeah, he's really the pioneer for like wrestling now. You know what I'm saying? Because like at the Attitude Era, when Shawn Michaels left, when Stone Cold got injured, he took it and just took off. You know what I'm saying? DX was like on a 5-year run where they could do no wrong, bro. Like, even I still remember when DX went to WCW. I can't tell you how many times me and my cousins was flipping to see if WCW would bring them into the arena. Cause like we kept like flipping, like, oh wait, they're outside, like go to WCW, and but WCW wouldn't even let them in. I remember I think it was the Monday Night Wars documentary for WWE. Like they had Kevin Nash was he said he was like, hey, let them in, and one of the security guards was like, no, we can't do it, and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were just literally like begging them to open the door. Why, I don't know, but I mean, obviously Kevin Nash being friends of DX and everything, I'm pretty sure they were just like, yo, let them the fuck in. Like, please let them in. Now, I will say that if Eric Bischoff would have did that, big exposure for WWE, number one. Number two, it would have been big for your platform too, because everybody was like, "Yo, it's WWE, like they're here, like DX is here," you know. And but at that time, I feel like uh, Eric Bischoff was more into numbers at that. Like, but if he would have let DX in, it would have been crazy. But Triple H is like, and what he's doing now with WWE, like it's gonna be for a long time. Like it's on Netflix now. It's still on TV, but being on Netflix is it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Next on the list, we got Undertaker. Who didn't love the Undertaker? Who wasn't afraid of the Undertaker too, by the way. But yeah, the Undertaker definitely had to be on my list. One of my favorite matches of his, it had to be, man, it had to be, man, it's tough to say, man, because he has so many good matches. What's my favorite match? Well, I mean, I ain't gonna say it's a favorite, but it's the most known, and it had to be him versus Mankind in Hell in a Cell. That was probably one of the craziest matches I've ever seen in my life. Craziest match I've ever seen in my life. Now, when everyone talks fake, I tell them all the time, go watch Undertaker versus Mankind in Hell in a Cell, and you tell me a wrestling's fake. Now, now, you got to be a crazy motherfucker to say, you know what, throw me off the cage. You're crazy. You're fucking, you're nuts. I would, no, 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 no. Now, yeah, I'm cool. That match was scary. Like, oh man, it was scary. Yeah, it was fucking insane. So if you, oh man, I just thinking about it is that got me like, bro, like, why did you do that? So, before the match, Mankind is basically saying, "Hey, let's climb the cage." Undertaker's like, "Nah, man, my ankle's bad. I don't want to go up there." So Mick is like, "All right, cool." Goes out there, climbs the cage anyway. So Undertaker, being the guy that he was like, "Well, I mean, I ain't no bitch." He climbs the cage too. After saying he wouldn't climb, he climbed it. And so basically, Mankind was like, "Hey, throw me off the side." So they get to the edge, and I remember this vividly. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, they were like, "Yo, I mean, they're kind of close to the edge," but we're like, "Oh, you know, he's not gonna throw him off. He's not gonna throw him off. He's not gonna do it." You know. And Jim Ross was like, I was like, I mean, they were teetering off the side. Like I was worried both of them were gonna fall off and, you know, just impact right in front of us. So, he Undertaker throws Mankind off the side of the Hell in a Cell. Now, Mankind said, well, Mick Foley was like, he was like, you know, I grabbed the side to, you know, turn my body to where I can land on the table. Luckily, I landed on it, but that man didn't move for like 10 minutes. I thought he was dead. Like, I literally thought he was dead. Like, even my brother was like, yo, he just killed this nigga on live TV. Like, bro, looking at, like, watching it in real time, I really thought that he was gone. Like, cause he didn't move for like 10 minutes, bro. Like, he didn't move at all. And they just, like, the crowd is just still screaming. There, people, like, his leg was like underneath the barricade, like, you know, underneath the barricade. His leg was underneath it. Like, people didn't even touch him. That's how scared some people were. Like, people didn't even touch him. Nobody, like, on the announcing was like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like, everyone was in complete shock. I think everybody at home was shocked too. After that match, I believe Vince was like, "Hey, I appreciate what you did, but don't do that again." But other than that, Undertaker is one of the greatest characters of all time, honestly. Longevity and his in-ring moves, his promos, the man always stayed in character throughout that time. Whenever that gong hit, everyone got scared. When the lights went out, everybody was terrified. It'd be chills down your spine. Just, oh man, Undertaker literally became, if not, he's on the Mount Rushmore of WWE. No question about it. No question about it. He's been there since WrestleMania one, I believe, and stayed till 40. Like that's insane. Like thinking about where WrestleMania started and you going all the way through, like oh man. And one thing about Undertaker, like he was never one of the guys that's just like, oh okay, I'm not doing it. You know, he was more like, you know what, I got to do this for the business. He puts the business first. You know what I'm saying? He's never one of those guys that's like not gonna do something, you know, to save his name. He's like, my name is already there. I'm still gonna do it. Um, let's see. One of my favorite episodes of Monday Night Raw that he was in was when he kidnapped Stephanie, and you know was gonna get married to her or whatever, and then Stone Cold comes down and saves her. That was one of my favorite episodes. I always go back and watch that episode of Raw. You know, Raw back in the Attitude Era was legendary, but compared to now, like back then, it was always like endless stories. Like it was like a number of stories like coming all the way through. I might do like, you know, Attitude Era versus like the Now Era to, you know, compare the two. I might do an episode like that. Let me know if y'all want to see that. But yeah, that was my favorite episodes. Speaking of Stone Cold, we got him in number 3. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin was a bad motherfucker. Like, no question about it. One of the baddest men to ever be in WWE. Like, how can you hate the man? Like, honestly, when he was a heel, I liked him. But he was the first anti-hero of our Attitude Era. And that man was literally the most badass motherfucker you could ever see in WWE, of course. Uh, he was. He also came from WCW as well. He was with WCW first, and then he went to ECW as well to cut promos and stuff, and then he came to WWE. So I believe in WCW he was just, you know, just regular, just, you know, trying to be, you know, regular guy or whatever. And they tried to make him from Hollywood and all that. He was like, "Oh man, I'm not from Hollywood. Like I'm from Texas. I got an accent, you know, and everything like that." But he was a great wrestler. He was very technical, and but when that man get that mic, it's a wrap. You can already guarantee, like, you know, when you hear that, and that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold says, like, oh man, when that glass shattered and he came out, oh man, it was a wrap after that. I ain't gonna lie. One of my favorite matches of his had to be man, it's a lot. It had to be him versus The Rock. Yeah, him versus The Rock at WrestleMania. That was a back and forth match. I think they both did finishers, did their own finishers on each other. It was fucking beautiful, man. Oh man, I love that. That was one of my favorite matches of Stone Cold. Stone Cold was like, he's also another pioneer for, you know, WWE, because at that time, who didn't hate their boss at work? Who didn't want to, you know, beat the boss up and everything? And there was hella matches where him and Vince would just be going at it. Vince would do everything to mess up Stone Cold, and Stone Cold would do everything to get back at Vince every time. Oh man, it was a great story, and he is a great character. It sucks that he had to retire and everything, you know. But if he had came back for that Cody Rhodes and you know came out and stunned The Rock, oh man, that would have been, oh, that would have been top tier. But I know he said it was kind of last minute and he had stuff to do, so he couldn't come out and do it. But I wish he would have came out for that Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match and just stunned The Rock. That would have been great. I know that was the original plan, was to try to get him out there, but he probably couldn't make it. But yeah, that Stone Cold is like, I always watched the match when he was on, when that glass shattered, when he cut a promo. Just loved every little bit of it. Next on the list we got obviously The Rock. You gotta have The Rock. Number 2, The Rock was, man, probably, man, when that music hit, bro, the crowd is going crazy. Whether they hated him or whether he was heel or face, you scream when The Rock was coming out to the ring, you know. And one of the most basic finishers, but it was just, you couldn't wait to see it. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't wait to see his finisher, the people's elbow, the rock bottom. They were so basic, but it was just so fire. You know, one of my favorite matches of The Rock had to be, man, oh, cause like it's so many with him too. But my favorite episode of The Rocks had to be him versus Triple H, for the World Heavyweight Title. Man, that match was a back and forth. That match was back and forth. This is around the time Triple H was with DX, and they were feuding with the Nation of Domination and everything. So him and The Rock had a match, and yeah, it was pretty good. It was good to see. The Rock really is like, and not knowing that he was Samoan at the time, like he always talked about his dad, but that family tree of the Samoans and like his legacy and everything. He really wanted to pay homage to his grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia. So when he first came out, it was Rocky Maivia, and and after that, he was like, you know what, I just got to be me. Obviously I can still honor my family, but I got to be me at the end of the day. He really carried the business at a time where they were looking for people, and him becoming The Rock just set it off, bro. After that, they took the ball and they took off with it after that, because everyone wanted to be The Rock. Everyone wanted to watch The Rock. Everyone just couldn't wait to see that man get on TV, and just every time he cut a promo, he was just cutting people every left and right. You can wait to hear what he got to say. Everyone be cracking up, like laughing, going crazy. The Rock is like the blueprint of what you want to be in WWE, basically. You start off paying your dues, but when you become the person, you keep people's attention. You keep them coming back for more. You keep them coming back. He talked in third person. Like, who talks in third person? But that's just how cocky he was. He was like, bro, I know I can whip your ass, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because The Rock says, and like he would just stick with that moniker so much. And then like the family tree is like him being a third generation superstar, or second. Well, he had third if you count his uncle, but his father was a wrestler. His uncles, cousins, you name it, they all were in wrestling. Like they built the wrestling business. So like with The Rock, it was more like, yeah, I'm Samoan, but I'm gonna show you guys like I can carry. I can carry just like my my ancestors did before me. Like my uncle did it, my grandfather did it. I'll carry this business too, and he did just that. Which brings me to number one and my favorite right now, Roman Reigns. Gotta put Roman Reigns in there. My favorite match of his was him versus Brock Lesnar. Granted, Seth Rollins had to ruin the fucking match by coming out to cash in Money in the Bank. But I liked Roman Reigns when he was with the Shield. Like even then when everybody hated him, I was like, bro, that's the future champion. That's my favorite one right there. Like everybody was like, oh yeah, I like Seth, I like Dean. I was like, nah, man, Roman Reigns, that's the future right there. I said it when he first came out, and look at where we are now. And Roman versus Brock was, man, I probably go back and watch that match at least every year, because like it was such a good match. Because like obviously you see Roman's getting his ass whooped, but he's laughing. He's laughing the whole time. And I'm like, yo, this nigga's crazy. Like he got slammed like twice, and then Roman's just looking at the camera and he's just laughing like, man, like man, that's all you got? Like you gotta be kidding me. That's all you got, bro? That's it? And I was just like, yo, like this nigga's crazy. Like, but I liked it though. Like I like that. I like seeing that in the character where they're just like, bro, you like this all you got? You whip my ass? Like this all you got? You're gonna have to come stronger than that, bro. You're gonna have to be stronger than that. You gotta do more than that to get rid of me. But Roman is arguably my favorite. Even when like everyone was booing him, I was like, bro, how can you boo this man? But his promos was terrible back then. I ain't gonna say they was good. They're better now, but then it was terrible. It was terrible promos. It was like it was stuff they gave him to say. It wasn't like stuff he chose to say. They made him say it. you know. But like overall, he's better now. And I mean, who doesn't like the tribal chief? You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Um, one thing that Roman is doing now, it's becoming that we want to see type of character, must see TV type character, and like you get that character by just being like, you know, you come back, you give him a little bit, but you have him one more. Like you like leave again, like, oh man, when is he coming back? Like now it's just like to the point where like we can't wait to see him come back. You know, Roman Reigns is he's probably gonna be my favorite for a long time. I don't know who my next favorite would be. It might be Jacob, but you know, Roman Reigns is obviously, you know, a second generation superstar as well. His father was with the Wild Samoans and everything, and you know he always talks about his father. He always talks about his family. That Samoan family is like big, you know, in WWE, like legends, Hall of Famers, champions. Like you gotta love it and you gotta just follow it. You know what I'm saying? Like that is something that can be tarnished or can be taken away, especially in wrestling. So um, Roman having the title for 4 years was, man, every single title defense he had was such a great story, and also they put a lot behind it every single time. Every single storyline was fire. Every single opponent he faced, fire, bro. You just knew he was gonna win, but also like the build up to the match was always great. That's what you need when you're having like a good title match. You need like good heels, good fate. Like, you know, you have to have a good storyline to have a great match. And every single match he had for those 4 years was always a great storyline. Even when Sami Zayn came in, when Sami Zayn was like nowhere, he was just in the back. They decided to put him with the bloodline, and you saw where that went. It elevated Roman Reigns. Really elevated everyone's career that was in the bloodline. If you see Jimmy and Jay, they're bigger now. You know what I'm saying? You can like you see Jay's gonna be a champion. Like you see Jimmy is on the verge of becoming like champion. You know, you see Solo, like he can become a champion. You see Jacob, Tangaloa, like those are tag team champions. Jacob of course is gonna be world heavyweight champion. There's no question about that. You know, Roman really put his family in the spotlight, and now it's just like, man, they can do no wrong. You know, and that's just the best part of having Roman Reigns in WWE. You know, the man knows what he's doing. He can do no wrong right now. It's just to the point where he's just gonna take everything and it's gonna be gold, like no question about it. So if you guys like this video, man, just let me know. If you have a favorite character, just put it in the comment section, man. And I'll be back again with another video, maybe along the line. Probably gonna review Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow. But yeah, been rocking with me this long. Appreciate you guys. Just drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.